Now, as many of you know, we have over 1,000 episodes, and that's pretty cool. But one of the things, too, with over 1,000 episodes is that you don't get a chance to go back and listen to all of them all the time, right? So this week, we're doing something a little different. It's a little unique. We're going to take a step back from producing new content, and we're going to go and pull out some of our top episodes in the archives and share them with you. We hope you enjoy them. Hey everyone, welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. You heard in the teaser there, we're going to talk today about following up and the importance of it, some ideas, and then how you can implement them. I'm going to give you some thoughts. But before we dive into all the fun stuff, you know I got to give some shout outs. I want to give a huge shout out to Kyle Morrison. Thank you so much for connecting with me. Good luck in all your sales journey, man. I'm excited to hear about all the good stuff you're doing with State Farm. Keep hustling, man. Also want to give a big shout out this week to Timothy Padden. Timothy, thank you so much for connecting. I wish you great success out there in the solo world. And also to Alex Demansky. Thank you so much for connecting, brother. I wish you great success. If you'd like to get connected with me, you can find me very easily by going on LinkedIn, Donald C. Kelly. You can also find me on Instagram, Donald C. Kelly. You can also find me on Twitter, Donald C. Kelly. Either one of those places, you can find me, get connected with me. Love to chat with you. Love to learn about what you're doing. You can also connect with our Facebook group, the Sales Evangelizers. This is a free community where sellers can come and ask questions. They can build strategic alliances and just have a good time. The Sales Evangelizers. Find our community on Facebook and also on LinkedIn. Either way, man, I'm telling you, I would love to get connected with you. You can drop me an email to donald@thesalesevangelist.com. Again, donald@thesalesevangelist.com. So each week, as we do TSE Hustlers League, it's a 1-hour training, group coaching with accountability and so forth. We also have a separate group for that where we keep each other accountable, have little competitions and things of that nature as well. But obviously, I'm not able to play the 1-hour session on these episodes. So I get some snippets and try to share a piece of it with you so you can get an understanding. And hopefully this can give you some ideas as you follow up. Let's dive into it. But let's go into following up now, because if you are doing what you implemented in the past couple of weeks, the 10 by 10 rule, you should have tons of people that you need to follow up with right now. You should have maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 individuals that you need to follow up with your prospecting. Now, why don't people like to follow up? What's the big issue with following up? Let's go back and talk about what is following up, first of all. Following up is the act of communicating with these prospects that you find. It is simply that it is the act of reconnecting with the prospect. Now, following up is very, very crucial. But why don't people do it? Because they don't want to be annoying. Like, for instance, you've all had that before. You've had someone who was borderline stalking you. You almost had to get a restraining order because they signed up for something, or you called them or you visit them in a mall or somewhere and they got your information and they just hound you and they call and they call and they call and they just keep stalking you. So, there's a borderline between that as opposed to effective following up. And I think that's I know based on working with a lot of salespeople, that is one of the big issues that affect them. That is one of the big things that hold them back. They're afraid of becoming that guy or that girl, so they don't do the following up. They don't want to be a stalker. But following up is important. One of the big important things with following up is following up shows trust. It does. You might think, how does that work? Well, if I'm the prospect and you're the sales rep and you told me you're going to call me on this date, on Monday, and I have not heard from you, your credibility goes down significantly because you made a promise to me. You told me you're going to follow up with me on Monday. You told me you're going to get in touch with me, but then you don't. It also shows that maybe it's not as important to you because you have other things that's pressing. I don't know, maybe you have other clients that are, you're getting money from and you don't want to get money from me. But following up is important. And I think a lot of people they don't realize that. They might make a promise with the client or the prospect, and then they just don't give the time of the day. They don't put the effort to making that appointment. And I don't know what that is. I think sometimes it's just that, that they might say, well, I can follow up with them tomorrow. I can follow up with them next week, which is not generally the case. You need to make sure if you make a promise, you follow up with them right then and there. It's better that you follow up and they're not there as opposed to you not following up at all, because that tarnishes your relationship and ruins trust. Because trust eventually leads to success, especially in sales. You have to have trust. We heard the saying before. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. So I want to build trust with my prospect. I want to build trust with them. It's important for me to follow up with them. Now, when do we follow up? Follow up, well, whenever you say you're going to.
At the end of every single meeting, at the end of every single conversation with the prospect, you need to have some kind of next step. And that's where the follow-up come in place. So for instance, if I was to meet with somebody for the first time, for me in my business as a sales trainer, I meet with them, I understand their challenges and so forth. I'm going to get a clear follow-up when I'm going to get back with them, because the last thing I want to do is to waste my time and to waste their time by just going to a meeting for no reason. They can do research online or they can meet with anybody else if they want. But for me, there has to be some meaningful process. There has to be a clear next step. What is it that they want to do? What is it that I want to do? What is it we're going to do next? So with your business, you need to have a clear next step. Every single appointment needs to have a clear next step. So for me, again, if I was to meet with someone, then the next possible meeting would be consisting of, maybe a deeper analysis of what their current sales process is like. So at the end of that meeting, or even before the meeting ends, I will set it up to share with them that, hey, we're not a fit for everybody. And if we're not a fit, I want you to tell me that we're not a fit. And if we are a fit, I want you to tell me as well. I kind of put that out there at the very beginning. I set the rules before we play the game. I also want to let them know that if we do find there's a fit, that we'll have a clear next step. And usually I want to find out from them also what they feel is a clear next step. So by the end of the meeting, they know we're going to have a clear next step. I know we're going to have a clear next step if we find that there's a mutual benefit and if we find there's an alliance there, if we're a fit for each other. So at the end of that meeting, I typically will ask them, what would you like to do next? Usually they might say, well, let's go with what you suggested. Let's get together and review the sales process, our internal sales process, and to see how your training or whatever you're offering can assist us. So I know what's going to happen. Then I ask them what day works best for you. What I've seen works great in this scenario is that if you can give them some options. So I might say, give a couple days next week. The last thing you want to do is leave the meeting and they say, we'll follow up with you. We'll get in touch with you. I mean, that's a cop-out for them telling you they're not interested. I usually like them to tell me from the very get-go, Donald, it's fun. You're nice. You're a good podcaster and all, but we're just not looking for any sales training at this point. Then I'm fine with that. I mean, obviously, I'm not fine with that. We'll work on making sure we get something out of it. But if it's really just not at the right timing, or if it's just not going to happen right now, I still want to get some kind of follow-up and some kind of understanding. If it's like a budget or if it's some kind of, just a business, they're focusing on other things. I want to get some kind of idea of when is the next time I should follow up with them. And what I will do, either way, even if they're not ready right now, or if they're gun-ho, they want to go to the next step, I find out what particular day. I might give them some option. Would next Monday, Wednesday, or Friday work for you? I have free in the mornings on Mondays or in the afternoons on Wednesdays and Fridays. And they might say, well, let's go with Wednesday afternoon. Okay, what time would be best? And they might give me a time. I will take that time and I will put it in a calendar invitation.
And you know what? You're probably listening to this episode and saying, dang, I know this stuff, but maybe for one reason or another, you're not doing it. And I would ask you, why in the world are you not doing it? Why are you not implementing these fundamental things? You're probably losing appointments and you probably know it. And this is a simple way that you can make sure your appointments stay secure, that the people you're meeting with, they know what's going on, and that you're following up effectively. Don't talk to prospect, get all excited, get them excited, and then don't do anything about it. We got to close it, man. We got to keep them going in the right direction. Set these next steps and help them to go forward. Obviously, I did not get a chance to play the whole training session, but essentially what I talked about next was showing them how to use Google Calendar. Some people don't have Outlook. A lot of you may use Google. So use your Google Calendar to set up a calendar invitation and tag them in it, man. Put their email address. You can put a notification that you want them to get a notification 1 hour before the meeting or a day before the meeting so that you know and they know. And when you get the notification, you can drop an email as well, maybe saying, hey, look forward to seeing you tomorrow. This gives them a way that, if something did come up, then they can tell you and to be open with you that I can't make it. I have to go to Japan or whatever. But anyways, I hope that makes sense. I hope you're able to take this and apply it. Start doing it now. You may know it. You may think you know it. You may have done it before. Start doing it now at every single meeting. I promise you'll see greater success. If you want to check out TSE Hustlers League, simply go to thesalesevangelist.com/the word episode, then the number 320. Thesalesevangelist.com/the word episode, number 320. And that's for episode 320. You'll be able to get connected back with myself. You can get connected with TSE Hustlers League. You can join for $1 for the month and check it out and be a part of our community. I would love for you to be successful. I'd love to give you that mastermind approach. I would love to give you that accountability that you need or you would like to help you go even further. Some of the organizations that I work with, they just have their folks turn in a receipt and they get them reimbursed. So see if that's something that can benefit you or your organization. Come and check out TSE Hustlers League. All in all, I want you to be successful. I want you to be happy. But most importantly, I want you to go out and do big things. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the show today as much as we did here. And if you did, go ahead and hit subscribe. You can go ahead and share it with your friends, your family, your colleague. Let them know about the podcast and leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen to find podcasts like this. It would go a really, really long way. Truly appreciate you. Our show today was produced by myself and the Sales Podcast Network. It was edited and mixed together by the one and only Jershino Bale. Our content writer and show note creator is Mrs. Shannon Rasmussen. You can find audio credits to this and all of our episodes in each of our show notes. And as always, I am your host, your coach, your mentor, your guide down the sales journey, Mr. Donald C. Kelly, the sales evangelist. Sales Podcast Network.